You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
If Daniel were here, he'd go, or yes, Sunday, or something like that. But I don't ever feel quite comfortable starting a show that way. Although I guess I kind of just did start the show that way. I'm going to go with hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Hello, friends. That's a Jim Nance golf reference. Anyway, this is The Scrimmage. I'm Justin Domashevitz. Trusty producer Andrew Gross is here with me. Daniel Hargrove is no longer with us today, as he is out of town, and as my daughter speculated maybe he's in jail. I can't say for sure. He's been texting us telling us he's not in jail, but I guess we don't really know for sure. Francis is sending us a message pointing out Daniel looks great. Which, if you are in the audio-only audience, I'll just say there is a Coug bear in Daniel's normal spot, and I agree. Daniel looks great. There was some kind of a stuffed animal in my spot a couple weeks ago when I wasn't here. What was that, Andrew? Was that a teddy bear? Was it a bunny?
I think it was a
dog?
Yeah.
A stuffed dog. Okay. Well, we have a ton of great stuff to talk about because we have the wrap up of high school sports. Some really cool stuff happened. A couple of softball trophies, some really good. Then Hannah showed me the dog. Okay. Yep, that's the one that was me, but it's way cuter than me. So people probably would prefer if we would just put the stuffed dog in front of my camera. Also, they would probably prefer that I not be on the show. But that's all. That's beside the point. Chase Ferrier, thank you, Chase, says free Daniel. We need to get a hashtag going. Hashtag free Daniel. We don't think he's in jail, for the record.
We don't think he's in jail. Justin's daughter thinks that he's in jail.
I wouldn't rule out the possibility that he could be in jail, but I don't think he's in jail. Anyway. Softball state trophies, lots of cool track stuff. We're going to have to figure out a way to honor a particular Hoquiam track athlete, or a tracklete, as Daniel would call her, who just seems to exceed every expectation that everyone could ever possibly have for a high school athlete in Jane Roloff from Hoquiam. And I think probably the best thing to do here is just to kick it off with the local sports roundup. Montesano's softball team finished its season hoisting a fourth-place trophy on Saturday. After a first-round bye, the Bulldogs opened the state tourney with a 6-4 loss to eventual champion Royal. Monty bounced back with an 11-1 win over Lakeside and a 14-1 win over Mount Baker before falling to Riverside 7-6 in the third-place game. Allie Parkin batted .500 for the Bulldogs through the state tourney, driving in 8 runs across the 4 games with 3 doubles and a home run. Liv Robinson and Addie Kersker each scored 6 runs and stole 3 bases, and Lex Stanfield batted .700 in her 3 starts at third base. Congratulations, Bulldogs.
Pale Willapa Valley also earned a trophy in the state tourney this week. The Titans beat Kittitas 6-4 to claim third place in 2B softball. PWV opened the state tournament with a 7-1 win over Northwest Christian, then fell to top seed and eventual state champion Adna 3-2. The Totans? Is that right? Titans.
Sorry. Typo.
It's a typo, but I'm not paying enough attention to catch it. I'm sorry. That's
I got
my bad.
distracted by
That's
an escaping turkey.
The Titans responded with a pair of dominant wins, 18-3 over Lake Roosevelt, then 13-2 over Toledo to earn a spot in the third place game. Lauren Emery pitched a gem in the opening win over Northwest Christian, going all 7 innings and allowing just 2 hits, 1 earned run, while striking out 13 batters. Several Titans hitters shined throughout the tourney. Jillian Hoddle went 4 for 4 against Northwest Christian with a double, 2 runs, and 2 RSBI. Carly Phelps went 4 for 4 with 2 doubles, 2 runs, and 2 RSBI against Toledo. And Tyler Keaton got 2 doubles, scored twice, and drove in 2 runs against Lake Roosevelt. Throughout the 5 games of the tourney, Lauren Matlock batted .700 for PWV, scoring 8 runs and driving in 7 runs with 5 doubles and a home run.
Andrew, there was like 5 typos in that paragraph. I apologize. You trucked through it. Aberdeen softball team won a couple of games in the 2A state softball tourney, but came up just barely shy of a second straight state trophy. The Bobcats opened with a 2-1 win over Enumclaw, then fell to Tumwater 11-0. Aberdeen crushed its next 2 opponents, Olympic 12-2 and WF West 11-1, before falling to Port Angeles 6-2 in a contest which would have put them in the 3rd place game. In the win over Enumclaw, Annika Hollingsworth pitched all 7 innings, allowing just 1 run on 2 hits and striking out 12. Alyssa Yakovich hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 5th. Against Olympic, Riley Hendrickson went 3 for 3 with 2 runs, 3 RBI, and a dinger. Scotland Lecomte also homered in that game and drove in 4 runs. Lecomte homered again in the win over WF West and recorded 2 hits, as did Hollingsworth, Lainey Yakovich, Alyssa Yakovich, and Lily Camp.
Elma and Acosta both were victims of a loser-out first round of their respective state tourneys. Acosta fell to Toledo 14-0, and Elma lost to Lakeside 3-2. Emmy Spencer and Raylan Weld each recorded 2 hits for Elma in their loss, while Mia Monroe recorded 3 hits, including a double.
Man, that 2B softball tournament was crazy, and there's so many good teams there, but that Acosta score against Toledo was the shock of the weekend for me, absolutely. Montesano's Haley Blankis wrapped up her high school golf career by placing 2nd at the 1A State Girls Golf Championship on Wednesday at Riverside Golf Course in Chehalis. Blankis shot a 2-day total of 156, and Elma sophomore Olivia Moore placed 4th with a score of 161. Elma junior Sophia Hamilton shot a 193. Moore and Hamilton combined to score 19 points for the Eagles, placing Elma 3rd in the state as a team.
Led by a trio of seniors, Aberdeen Bobcats girls golf team placed 6th at the 2A State Girls Golf Championship on Wednesday at the Meadowwood Golf Course in Liberty Lake. Aberdeen was led by Sailor Hekala, who placed 19th overall with a score of 178. Britt Rajic?
I think it's Rajic.
Rajic tied for 24th with a score of 184. Caitlin McCracken rounded out Aberdeen's team score, posting a 2-day total of 201 to place 38th.
After leading the league with more than 30 goals this season, Elma senior Kaysen Seberg has been named the 1A Evergreen League Boys Soccer MVP for the 2nd time in his high school career. Seberg also earned the honor as a sophomore. Montesano junior Felix Romero was named Offensive Player of the Year after leading the league champion Bulldogs with 25 goals and 9 assists. Several other local players were honored as well. Monty's Spencer Lavelle, Chris Tobar, and Giovanni Torres making the all-league first team, along with Raymond Southbend's Adam Mora, Edgar Ramirez, and Fabian Busio. Elma's Matthew Wood and Hoquiam's JB Fabian also earned first team all-league honors.
Aberdeen's boys soccer team earned several spots on the 2A Evergreen All-League list. Isaiah Johnson was named Defensive Player of the Year after making 216 defensive stops this season.
That's a lot.
Evan Cohn was selected to the All-League first team after leading the Bobcats with 11 goals. Elmer Torres, Juan Serrano, and Angel Espinoza each earned a second team nod, and Leo Garcia and Chris Garcia received honorable mentions.
All right, now I need everyone to bear with me for a minute because I have a whole bunch of state track results to get through. I'm going to do it the best I can. I'm going to start with...
Do you want music?
Yeah, let's keep the music bed going. I want to start with the biggest thing that happened this week, which is Jane Roloff winning the state title in the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 meters. She did set a PR in the 1600, but her times were all really good, and what an amazing accomplishment for Jane, who
School record in the 1600 as well.
That's awesome. So, I mean, huge accomplishments for Jane. I think she already held the school record in all 3 of those, so she's just breaking.
Would make personal records, school records.
Yeah, breaking her own records at this point. So anyway, huge accomplishments for Jane, the only person who won multiple state titles in track. So that's the top of the list, but I do want to move on to 2A because Aberdeen I did my best to get everyone who placed in the top 8 from all these schools, so I'm going to run through some results here. For Aberdeen, Henry Nelson finished 4th in the 400 with a time of 1 minute 56.83 seconds. Jabron Brooks finished 7th in the shot put with a throw of 52 feet and 4.5 inches. Tyler Bates finished 2nd in the discus with a throw of 171.7. Adonis Hammonds 8th in the long jump with a jump of 20 feet 10.5 inches. And Micah Schroeder 2nd in high jump at 6'4". That's really impressive. Moving on to 1A, in addition to Jane Roloff, we have Sean Straka from Montesano finishing 7th in the shot put with a throw of 47 feet and 0.75 inches. Gabe Bodwell from Montesano finished top 8 in 3 different events. He was 8th in the high jump at 6 feet, 2nd in the discus at 163 feet and 9 inches, and 5th in the javelin with a school record throw of 181 feet and 11 inches. I would also like to point out that Gabe, his high jump of 6 foot placed him 8th, but he was tied with, I think, 4 other people there, and I don't exactly understand how all the tiebreakers work in that spot. Pau Surinok from Montesano finished 6th in the pole vault with a leap or vault? Is it a vault or a jump? Anyway, 13 feet 6 inches. Richie Guadarrama
Is that
from
high jump, which is the
pole vault.
That'd be a vault.
It'd be a vault.
Yeah.
It's not a jump.
No, it's definitely a vault. Yeah.
Richie Guadarrama from Elma took 6th in the 200 with a time of 22.77. He also barely missed qualifying for the finals in the 100. I think he was in 9th place and he needed 8th. Dayton Brookins from Elma took 8th in the triple jump at 39 feet 9.75 inches. Haley Schweppe from Montesano finished 4th in 2 events, in the 1600 with a time of 5 minutes and 7.88 seconds, and in the 800 with a time of 2 minutes and 19.42 seconds. And then the Montesano 4x4 relay team of Peyton Domashevitz, no relation, Jarrell Bayless, Mason Rasmussen, and Jesse Anderson took 6th with a time of 3 minutes, 33.67 seconds, which awesome that you took 6th. I know those guys wish they could have trimmed a couple of seconds off and probably could have finished 3rd if they had run their best time, but still a huge accomplishment. The very last event on the last day of the track meet, that 4x4. Moving on to 2B, we had Austin Snodgrass from Raymond took 4th in the shot put with a throw of 50 feet, and also 4th in discus with a throw of 157.2. Robbie Stegall from South Bend was 7th in the shot put at 46 feet and 6.5 inches, and then 3rd in discus at 167.7. Chris Banker from Raymond was 3rd in high jump at 6'2", and I'm telling you, man, that 6'2", that puts him up near the top at some of the higher levels as well. That's a really good jump. And then the Raymond 4x1 team took 2nd with a time of 44.77. That is Austin Snodgrass, Logan Frank, Isaac Schluter, and Chris Banker. And then Elka Cox from North Beach took 6th in the 300 hurdles with a time of 49.83. Now on to the 1Bs, and this is the last section here, but we've got some more state champions. Lewis Kozer from Oakville took 1st in the discus at 136.7. Logan Green from Merriam Knight took 1st in the high jump at 6 feet.
That's my neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's, again, 6 feet, that's high. Like, that's what Gabe Bodwell jumped at the 1A ranks, so that's a really good jump for 1B for Logan Green. Xavier Davis from Tahola took 1st in javelin with a throw of 170 feet. Cody Strozik from Willapa Valley took 4th in the javelin with a throw of 151.11. Hank Swartz from Willapa Valley took 8th in the triple jump at 37 feet 7 inches. Sam Sheary from Willapa Valley took 5th in the girls discus at 100 feet 4 inches. Pardon me. Emily Wilson from Willapa Valley took 6th in the 200 with a time of 26.95, and then 1st in the 400 with a time of 1 minute and 0.29 seconds.
Nice.
And finally, last but not least, Tamira Grover Curley out of Tahola, 3rd in the shot put with a throw of 33 feet 6 inches, and that will conclude the state version of spring sports in the local sports roundup.
Thanks for reading all those names.
I got a note. Yeah,
that was a lot of names in a row.
No problem.
And I'm pretty good at reading paragraphs of actual sentences, but there's no way I would have been able to coherently tell you, like, because
Yeah.
It's all just numbers.
I didn't type it out in paragraph form. I have a correction here too, from Dave Beeler. Henry Nelson was fourth in the 800, not the 400, which actually makes a ton of sense because if you look at the time of almost 2 minutes, that wouldn't be very good in the 400, but it's a great 800 time. Also, Hargrove, Hargy13 has jumped on and said hashtag free Daniel. So I wonder if he knows that there's speculation he might be in jail, or did he just see that other people were saying free Daniel and then decided to say it? Anyway, Daniel, if you are still there and you want to confirm for us that you're not in jail, please type that into the chat. It would be helpful to know. But we got a ton. That was the track results, especially. So many kids with great accomplishments. We have multiple state title. We have multiple different kids that won a state title. We only have one multiple state title winner, and that's Jane Roloff. In softball, we had a whole bunch of teams that I think we had high expectations for, including Monty, who was the 1 seed. They didn't come away with the title, but they did come after a narrow loss. They got knocked down to the consolation side of the bracket and then ended up with a 4th place trophy. PL Willapa Valley had to win some games. I think they had to win 3 in a row to get 3rd place, and they did that. Did we get? He jumped in the chat instead of using his one phone. Okay, so Chase says that Daniel jumped into the chat instead of using his one phone call. So, and then Daniel
also said, "Or am I?"
He might be in jail. I don't know. I don't want to start any rumors here. Hashtag free Daniel. We got to start. We would be remiss if we didn't begin this post roundup local sports section by talking about Jane Roloff. And I think people probably we got the comment a couple weeks ago, hey, why does the same person keep winning Athlete of the Week over and over again? Oh, Francis wants to know if Daniel would be getting a Domashevitz Law discount. But he'll have to find a criminal lawyer probably if he's in jail, not a civil lawyer. So wouldn't be any help there, unfortunately.
Is that a lawyer that's a criminal?
No, it's a lawyer who practices criminal law.
So I won't take that further.
Okay. Anyway, so back to Jane Roloff. I think it can get a little wearying after a while because we've been talking so much about Jane through cross country and through track, and we went into the beginning of track season knowing, okay, Jane, cross country, state champ, All-American, cool things are going to happen in track season. But what actually happened in track season was Jane was completely dominant. She broke school records in all the events that she runs. She went to the league meet and broke league meet records in all 3 of the events that she runs. She went to district and won a district title in all 3 of her events. And then she went to state and she won a state title in all 3 of her events. And then again, setting another PR. It's been a season of dominance unlike much of any that I can recall. So, yeah, we've talked about it a lot, but yeah, it deserved to be talked about a lot. And part of what stands out to me about Jane Roloff is because part of the reason she got on our radar in the first place is because she was a great distance runner, but we just saw her running. We saw her running all the time. We drive through Hoquiam, you see her running down the road. The joke became she's Jane Never Stops Running Roloff, and we imagined that she had a treadmill in class, a customized treadmill in class that she would be able to learn with this treadmill desk while all the other students are sitting at their normal desks, because in our minds, Jane never stopped running. And I think what she accomplished here in her senior season, which is maximum excellence, school records, league titles, district titles, state titles, in everything she did. It's maximum excellence. It's like the peak of what you can hope to accomplish if that's your sport. Like Francis says here in the chat, it's legend, wait for it, dairy. And if you ever watched How I Met Your Mother, you'll get that joke. If you haven't watched it, don't bother. Because, like, it's a funny show, but throughout the course of it, they just make it their mission to make you hate all the characters you love, and then they end it in the worst way possible. So avoid How I Met Your Mother.
Watch the first few seasons and then stop.
Yeah. Dave Beeler in the chat says Jane won all 18 meets this year, and her only loss was eighth. Was eighth the biggest high school? Oh, at the biggest high school meet at the Arcadia, California, and she took eighth. So she the only way that she didn't win was if she
That's
went
crazy.
and competed against many of the greatest runners from across the nation. And, you know, she went to that Nike Jesuit meet and competed with a bunch of great runners from the region, and she won the 1,500 meters. So she was also winning those too.
The 1,500?
Yeah, they ran a 1,500. I don't know why.
Is that something? Is college completely different than high school or something?
I have no idea.
Like, or Olympic is different than high school, or
I had never heard of a 1,500 before.
Interesting.
I'm not like a big track guy, so maybe there's got to be a reason why they do that instead. I have no idea.
is it a yards and not meters?
No, I'm pretty sure
okay.
it's meters. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. But she competed in the 1,500 and she beat everybody. Like, soundly. Like, we talked about this at the time.
Yeah,
when
she was
beat
probably
everybody.
like, man, this is shorter than I'm used to.
Probably. But when she beat everybody in the 1,500, they were having a hard time keeping the other runners on the screen on their broadcast because she beat everybody by so much. We played that on our show. So this is like, for Jane, it's maximum winning, it's maximum excellence, and her story is a story of hard work and dedication to your craft. And I know other kids that are in this senior class that I look at. I mean, I would include my son as one of these, that they got where they did and they achieved so highly in athletics because of the amount of work that they put into it, because of their character, because of their coachability, and because they worked when other people were taking a break. Did we get another message from Dave Beeler there, Andrew?
Yeah, he says it's the metric mile. Oregon, I'm assuming he means Oregon, like the Oregon high schools run the 1,500 and 3,000 meters, and then he says college runs the 1,500 meters.
Okay.
So it's like a level kind of difference.
All right. Why can't we all just run the same thing? I don't know. Like, why do we have to be different? Either way, it doesn't matter because Jane beat everybody in all these different. You take 100 meters off, throw 100 meters on, Jane's still winning because it's what she does. So the reason we've talked about it so much is because it's maximum excellence. And we're going to get to that a little bit more in a minute here. And we do have to pick a Spivey Athlete of the Week, and I think it's going to be tough, especially because we've got a couple of... Oh, I forgot my softball stats. Darn it. We got a couple of softball athletes that I think...
You left them?
I left them at my house.
Oh, shoot.
Remember last week how I wrote stuff down on a notepad and then Daniel was like, hey, that looks like my mad scrawlings. I did that again, but then I left them on the table. But that's okay. I think we'll be able to figure out who our nominees are from what we have. So we're going to do that. We're going to go through nominees and we're going to pick a Spivey Athlete of the Week. And then we're going to do something a little special after that or before that or in the vicinity of that as well. But before we do that, let's take a quick commercial break.
Which one did you want to take? I'm sorry.
The Dama one.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. Thank you for joining us. This is The Scrimmage. I'm Justin Damashevitz. Producer Andrew Gross here with me, and Daniel Hargrove is no longer with us today. Maybe in jail? Hashtag free Daniel. We don't know. I had a question if Beeler is still in the chat, if he's there. Can you tell me, in your experience, have you ever seen a track athlete or know of anybody locally who has won 4 state titles in one season? Because Jane won the cross-country state title and was also All-American, and then she won all 3 of the distance ones. And I know we've had some great we've definitely had some great track athletes. Like, especially when I think back on great track athletes, I've got a bunch that come to mind in Hoquiam. A lot of them are sprinters, but there's also distance runners. But if you're a sprinter, sometimes you do the 100 and the 200, and then you do the relays. And so I know there's a possibility that we could have some 4-time state title winners, but I don't recall one. So if anybody who's in the chat, especially Beeler, knows, feel free to jump in there. What is Daniel saying here?
Coach Beeler does agree with you that everyone should run the same distance.
Okay.
Daniel said that he snuggled the phone in.
Did he mean smuggled?
I think he does. He says he also smuggled autocorrect in.
Okay. You know, if you're going to smuggle the phone in, you should have just left autocorrect behind, because it messes me up all the time, too. Does that say hashtag jail is boring?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Daniel.
Daniel's already going stir crazy in the clink.
Chase says, Daniel, hide the phone. The guards are right behind you. I think we've officially confirmed Daniel's in jail. I don't know. He's snuggled with the phone in jail. He's snuggling with autocorrect right now. Yeah, Daniel's in jail. I want to go through the list of Spivey Athlete of the Week nominees because we've got a bunch. I think everybody who won any state track title deserves to be a nominee. We also had a few kids who did multiple things in track. And then I threw Allie Parkin in here for Monty softball as well, because she's been incredible all year. But, across the state tournament, and this is part of the softball stats that I'm upset that I left at home. Across the state tournament, she batted .500 in 4 games with 8 RSBI, 3 doubles and a home run. And I went back and I was like, okay, well, how did she do in the district tournament when they won the district title? And her stats were just mind-boggling in that tournament. It was even better than her stats from the state tournament and the district tournament. So I wanted to put Allie Parkin in there. Lewis Kozer, who's from Oakville, and he won the discus state title for 1B. Logan Green from Merriam Knight, who won the high jump state title in 1B. Xavier Davis from Tahola, who won the javelin state title in 1B. And then we have Emily Wilson on the girls' side in 1B, who won the state title in the 400 and also took 6th in the 200. Austin Snodgrass from Raymond didn't win a state title, but he did get 4th in shot and 4th in discus, and then also was part of a 4x1 relay team that took 2nd. Gabe Bodwell for Monty didn't finish 1st in any, but he had 3 events that he finished in the top 8th, including 5th in javelin, breaking a school record, and 2nd in disc with a huge PR. I heard it was like a 15-foot PR. Definitely would not have thought of discus as his best event, but he did get his best finish there. And then Michaela Stanfield's also an interesting one for Monty track, because she won the state title in javelin, and it's her first year of track in high school. So she just kind of decided, senior year, I think I'll do track. She did track, picked up a javelin, became great at it immediately because she's a phenomenal athlete, and then, messed around and won a state title after not doing track and throwing javelin at all, at least through high school. So that's pretty interesting. So those are all the nominees. And then we have Jane Roloff. We're going to set Jane to the side for the time being and not give her Athlete of the Week. Andrew, do you have a strong inclination of where we should go for Athlete of the Week?
So it's Coach Beeler's letting us know a few more things about Jane.
Okay.
She's only the 3rd ever 1A girl to run and win the 800, 1600, and 3200 ever. In
the history of state 1A.
Yes, yeah, I
Okay.
assume the state.
Yeah.
He says he thinks Todd Arnold may have won all 3 in B2.
Okay.
He says there's been numerous athletes that won 3 events, but never in the 3 distance events. That's the hardest triple to accomplish.
Yeah.
4 races in 3 days.
Right, because you got prelims on the 800.
Right. And then Chase is saying that Elma softball had a great season that came up short, but made state for the first time in 5 years for the program and put everything they had into it. It was a fun team to watch.
I think Elma, that was tough, man. Like they they got stuck in this spot where they were the 5 seed. If they were one of the top 4, then you get the automatic bid into the double elimination portion of the tournament. I think they lost their game by 1 run. So they go from like, being a 5 seed, having a chance to go in and compete for a trophy, and then you lose by 1 run and you're just out. That totally sucks.
Yeah.
And that was a team like, we talked about Emmy Spencer and all the Welds and like those girls, man, they could freaking hit. They had multiple games in the district tournament where they had 3 different girls with a home run. So yeah, it was super disappointing to see that their season end that way. But either way, making it to the state tournament is a massive accomplishment. Especially, I think there's only 12 spots in that tournament. I don't know. I'm guessing it's all by participation. So there's probably less schools in state 1A with the softball team. So the tournament shrinks a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just to be able to make it to state, get a 5 seed, awesome accomplishment for Elma. So we're saying, based on what Dave Beeler was telling us, is that there's probably no 4-time champions, and in the history of state 1A, it's only the 3rd time that someone accomplished the specific thing that Jane accomplished, which I've got to give a little shout out to one of our posts, Joe Marchi, who sometimes jumps on and comments on our stuff, commented, "I don't think everyone really understands how difficult this was," or something like that. Like, it's hard. We talk about it like with all these glowing terms, but she did the hardest thing. Like, she'll go out. I've watched people in a high school track meet collapse after running the 3,200 because it's a really hard race. Jane does the 3,200 and she's fine.
Well, she does the 3,200 and she also does the 1,600 and the 800 and wins them. And
a lot of the time, like at least at league and district, she's doing all 3 of those within a span of a few hours. So at least this time, yeah, it's really hard. You're competing against the best competition in the state, and it's 4 races over 3 days. But at least it's not all on the same day. So that's pretty crazy. Stanfield, okay, so Dave Beeler throwing out Stanfield as a nominee, or who he would vote for Athlete of the Week, which I think it's crazy when you add she just decided to do it. Like, this wasn't like I've been throwing jabs since I was a freshman and getting a little bit better every day. This was like I'm just going to pick up this pointy stick and see how far I can throw it. And then over the course of a couple months, a few months of track season, becoming the best in your classification in the state, which is pretty amazing. And then Haley Schweppe, yes, we should definitely throw Haley Schweppe in there. Only a freshman. She finished 4th in the state in the 800 and the 1,600. So there's just so many really deserving nominees here. I was kind of leaning Allie Parkin right off the bat. There's a little bit of Bulldog bias in there. I also want to mention...
You left your Montesano softball stats at home, though.
I did, but...
You can't strongly make the argument.
Trust me, they're really good. Like, the stats are really good. And I think I would include, if we did go that way and have Allie Parkin be the Athlete of the Week, I would go back and throw her district stats in as well, because her stats over the district and state tournaments are just totally crazy. Like I said, she batted 500 with 8 RBIs in 4 games in the state tournament, and her district stats were better.
Jeez.
So she was great. And I think I also I wanted to mention that we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we're probably going to be, because now high school sports season is over, so we're not going to have as much sports over the next month. We're probably going to take a few more of these, and like next week we'll have an Athlete of the Week from this list of nominees, and then the week after, and then the week after. So we're probably going to have about a month worth of Athletes of the Week from this list. So we don't really have to stress out too much about getting the one here, because we'll know that, over the course of the next few weeks we'll honor some more of them. But I love the Michaela Stanfield. Oh, here, Bulldog bias showing again. I love the Michaela Stanfield nod from Coach Beeler. Also love the Haley Schweppe nod from Coach Beeler. And then Allie Parkin from softball. I feel sometimes like softball kind of got overlooked by our show this spring sports season until we got to playoffs. And that's, definitely Andrew's fault.
Yeah, clearly.
But Allie Parkin, I haven't seen the list of all league honors from 1A yet, but I think Allie Parkin's going to have, if not be the league MVP, she's going to definitely be first team. She'll have some kind of honor there as well. Francis is saying that Tiggy attempted the triple. He was 10th in the 800, 12th in the 1600, and 15th in the 3200, and that's as close as he got. And Tiggy was great. Like, this was a guy, as a senior, Tiggy won 7 titles between the league meet and the district meet. He won 7 titles. So, like, he was a great, and he's now running track at St. Martin's. I hope I got that right. Yeah, he's running track at St. Martin's now in college and just getting better, but he was a great track athlete, or a track lead as Daniel would call him. And now we're seeing like how far away he was from being able to accomplish what Jane accomplished. But enough about Jane, okay? Calm down on the Jane roll-off stuff. We got to pick an athlete of the week from this list. Daniel, if you're still out there, do you have a vote? If I don't like it, I just won't read it out loud. And Andrew, do you have a direction that you're leaning based on the list that we have?
No.
Okay.
They're all really good.
Yeah.
Can I vote for Logan Green?
Yeah, absolutely. Logan Green, Mary M. Knight.
Sophomore, just won the high jump.
Yeah.
In 1B, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's worth noting, won the high jump in 1B with a jump of 6 foot, which is really good. It would have placed him in state at the 1A level, so you could go up a couple of levels, a couple classifications, and he would have still been up there.
Yeah.
And it was a school record for Mary M. Knight. That's another escalator. That's true.
You know, his shirt was untucked too, which I don't know anything about high jump, but it seemed to me that was like makes it extra hard.
Yeah.
I would want to tuck at least the back of my jersey in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would think so too. Untucked, huh?
That's what I noticed
That's how
watching
confident. That's how confident Logan was, that he knew, oh, my shirt's gonna clear the bar too. Everything's fine. We got a message from Francis that says, "Free Daniel, stop Jane." Wait, why is he trying to stop Jane?
Don't try to stop Jane. She will run right through you, Francis.
Yeah. Okay, Daniel, if you have to vote for somebody who isn't Jane.
Unless there are greater plans.
There are greater plans. There are greater plans. Yeah, untucked shirt's a dangerous game in high jump, Francis. I agree with you. So the one thing we're going to wait here is on Daniel's response, and we'll see if he has a strong inclination one direction or another. I kind of want to go Allie Parkin from Monty softball, but I love this Logan Green from Mary M. Knight, winning the state title for Mary M. Knight in the high jump and also breaking the school record as well. And again, like I mentioned, we'll have more opportunities over the next few weeks to honor one of these kids. So Francis says, what does that say? Stop Jane. A duck would understand.
Well, neither of us are ducks, thankfully. So
what does that first hashtag say?
Stop pre?
Stop pre? Stop Jane?
We probably shouldn't be reading hashtags that Francis sends us out loud.
We probably really
just
shouldn't.
on principle.
You know, it's a good point. We actually really shouldn't be reading anything except he sent hashtag Daniel's a cop. Is that what it says?
What?
Daniel's cop? Anyway. Okay, so Daniel votes for Michaela. Loves the story of just starting and winning. He likes Logan too. Missed Parkin's numbers. I'll read them again, Daniel, but I left the scrawlings of a madman at my house, so I don't get to read you her district title or district tournament numbers. But in the state tourney, she batted 500 across 4 games, drove in 8 runs with 3 doubles and a home run. And then if I was putting in her district stats, I can't tell you what they are, but they're even better.
Trust him.
Is that convincing? Yeah, trust me. So I'm gonna stall for like 10 more seconds and see if Daniel has a response. If not, then we've got a 3-way tie and we're gonna have to talk about it and figure out how to break it. There are turkeys trying to escape. Oh, there's a cat trying to eat turkeys that are trying to escape. Okay, so I am
Daniel's mind is blown.
by something. By the fact that Allie Parkin's stats in district were better, trust me. Hashtag trust me. Hashtag free Daniel. Hashtag stop Jane? I don't know.
He says he switched to Parkin.
Okay.
All right, that works.
All right, so we're going to do that. And like I said, with keeping in mind the fact that we are also going to name a couple more kids off this list as Athlete of the Week in the upcoming weeks, we're going to go with Allie Parkin from Montesano Softball. Congratulations. You are our Spivey Athlete of the Week for your incredible performance in the state tournament and also the district tournament, which was better, trust me. That is our Spivey Athlete of the Week.
Congratulations.
Allie Parkin. Now we got to move on to something that I'm very excited about.
Uh-oh, what's that?
We kind of settled on the fact that Athlete of the Week for Jane is redundant. It's not fun anymore.
Now that you've got your cookies, you're over it.
It's not even about the cookies, man. It's like there's a part of me that was like, should we just name Spivey Athlete of the Week the Jane Roloff Award going forward? But then I was like, nah, we've already got a sponsor. So we can't do that. And I don't think that our sponsor would like to share the name of the award with someone who's not paying us anything. But I did think that it got to a point that there needs to be something more for Jane than just continuous Athlete of the Week awards over and over again. So we decided that she will be the first recipient of the inaugural Jane Roloff Award. Now you might ask yourself, what is the Jane Roloff Award, which we henceforth will be giving out annually to a local athlete? There will be an annual Jane Roloff Award as long as this show lasts. Who knows? One more year, 20 more years. Hannah doesn't want it to last 20 more years because she does not want me to keep coming over to her house. But regardless, there's going to be a Jane Roloff Award. So you would think to yourself, should that just be an award given for excellence in distance running? Because we could pick the best distance runner from our local area and give them the Jane Roloff Award. And I think that would be great, but I think it also slightly downplays the fact that Jane's accomplishments were not just incredibly impressive in the distance running world. And then we thought, okay, well, maybe Jane could be like, it'd be like excellence in spring sports. Like, she did maximum excellence. She did maximum winning this spring in track. And while that's true, yeah, we could pick whoever we determine was the best spring sports season athlete from our coverage area and give them the Jane Roloff Award every year. And that would work fine. But that also disregards the fact that she was the state champion in cross country, which plays in the fall. And she also was an All-American in cross country. So you could argue she has just as much accomplishment in that season as she does in the spring sports season. So after a little bit of discussion, we decided that the inaugural Jane Roloff Award, which will be presented to Jane Roloff this year, is going to be for our Athlete of the Year, basically. So we're not going to do it by calendar year. I know they do that in some newspapers, which I think is always kind of messy. We're going to do it by school year. So for
that
the
makes more sense. 23-24 school year, Jane Roloff wins the Athlete of the Year, otherwise known as the Jane Roloff Award. The first annual Jane Roloff Athlete of the Year Award.
There's no such thing as first annual. Something can't be annual until you've done it 2 years consecutively. It's the inaugural Jane Roloff Award. Nope, there's no annual yet. This is such a weird pet peeve that I have. People putting first annual.
I would argue that if you intend to award it yearly,
doesn't
the
work
title would still be annual. Even if you have not done it annually, if you intend to do it annually, it is still an annual award.
That is technically incorrect. In fact, I once bullied someone who was organizing a golf fundraiser to changing the title of their event from the first annual Montesano baseball. I think it was a Montesano baseball boosters golf scramble or something. And I gave him such a hard time that he changed the whole name of the event to the inaugural.
I do like the inaugural better, but I don't particularly care as much as you.
Yeah. I'm sure that, as Daniel has pointed out in the chat, this award will also be referred to as the Never Stops Running Award.
Yes.
And the funny thing will be when we give like a football player who also played basketball and baseball the Jane Roloff Award, because the excellence that is represented by Jane Roloff is maximum excellence.
I don't know. Do you think anyone's ever going to win state titles in all of those?
I seriously doubt it. It's hard enough to win a state title in one of them. Like, I just want to make sure people understand that.
I mean, 4 state titles is a lot to live up to.
It is not hyperbole for me to say this is maximum excellence. It's an uncommon level of achievement and an uncommon level of excellence that Jane has accomplished this year. And so we're not throwing around this award as a joke. You know, we decided as a group that this is what it should be. Jane represents maximum excellence in high school sports. And so from here on out, there will be an annual Jane Roloff Award winner for Athlete of the Year.
I love it.
Okay. Daniel likes it too, because it will forever be something that we have that is named after a Hoquiam athlete.
You're right. That will make him happy.
Good. I want Daniel to be happy, especially right now, because he's
got so little to be happy about otherwise.
Because he's in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, at first he was no longer with us today, and now he's in jail. And he's sending heart emojis. Thank you, Daniel. Well, that's going to conclude the local sports portion of our show. If you're interested even remotely in what we think about what's going on with the Mariners or other sports, or you think in general we're interesting to listen to, or you want to hear us answer a weird question, like if you had to lose your hands or your feet, which would you choose? That's all going to be coming up on the other side of this commercial break.
Spivey Realty Group's goal is to make buying, selling, investing, and renting real estate in Grace Harbor simple. They believe in 100% transparency and unparalleled communication with local expertise, tech-enhanced, and top-notch service for their friends, neighbors, and community. Their goal is simple: get a group of strong-willed, hard-working people together who want to make a difference in Grace Harbor and to use real estate as the means of achieving that. Voted Grace Harbor's best real estate company. Find them on Facebook or visit graceharborrealestate.com. Spivey Realty Group, elevating small town real estate.
That was amazing.
Thank you, Daniel.
That was so much better than what I thought it was going to be. Usually Daniel sits here at the counter and reads that like live off of his phone. Just keep that.
Yeah.
We'll just cut the people in the background and the doors opening and closing off the beginning and the end, and that was perfect. That will be our new commercial.
Justin realized at the beginning of the show that he didn't have the text of the ad read and asked Daniel for it, and Daniel considerately recorded it and sent it.
And you could hear some other inmates in the background, and then like the jail doors clanging, open and closed at the very beginning and end. But the whole party was reading; it was perfect. Mm-hmm. Andrew, did you listen to that beforehand?
No.
Okay, so
I just
when you
trusted
said
him. It was a lot of trust.
So much trust. when you said, "Oh yeah, Daniel sent a recording, so we could just play that," I was like, "Is that a good idea?" In my head, I was like, "Well, you know what, Andrew, you're the producer. I trust you." So anyway, Daniel, and forever we'll be able to make the joke that he recorded that from jail.
Yeah.
What does Chase say? This is the last broadcast recording of Daniel's voice since he's going to be away for a while. Well, we definitely need to keep it then. We got to keep Daniel's voice in the show until he is out of jail. He probably did something like give someone in a voting line a bottle of water or something, like happened to Larry David on the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Daniel's an important part of the show because he's really the only West County representation in the show.
Well, you're a Bobcat.
That's true.
Yeah. Also, he drives me here.
That's also important.
And like when I drive out here myself, I always have like a moment where I'm spacing out on the road and I'm like, oh crap, did I drive too far? It happens to me at least one time every time I drive out here. Anyway, we're gonna keep going because we got a little bit of show left to do, and I think this is gonna be a short edition of it. But let's go into the 2-minute drill.
The 2?
Let's go, huddle up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation. 44 seconds. Hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
The Mariners reportedly are a top landing spot for Toronto Blue Jays first baseman Vlad Guerrero Jr., who is on the trade block. Andrew, do you see Vlad Jr. fitting in with the current M's roster?
Ty France is my favorite Mariner. I really don't want to be replaced by Vlad Guerrero Jr. I don't know if Ty could play third. I also know that Ty needs to play better if he's going to stay. He has been hitting a little bit better, I think, recently, but it's still been a rough year. I also don't like the Blue Jays. I'm going to say no, based on nothing other than I don't want a Blue Jay on the team. Justin, the Boston Celtics are up 3-0 on the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston has the best record in the NBA by 7 games in the regular season and has lost just 2 games this postseason. Does it feel inevitable that they will win the title?
It kind of starts to feel that way until you think about the fact that they've played bad and or injured teams all the way through the playoffs. And the Eastern Conference is pretty trash this year. It had a little bit of a resurgence over the previous couple years. It's back to being bad again. When your second best team is the Knicks, that's not good. And then on top of that, they're facing all these teams where their best players are injured. They just beat Indiana without Tyrese Halliburton in Game 3. They're going to get to the West Finals, and they're going to play either the Mavs or the Timberwolves, and those teams are going to be battle-tested. So I do not think it's a foregone conclusion that the Celtics are going to win it, and I'm going to pick whoever's coming out of the West. Andrew, are the Mariners the worst first-place team you've ever seen?
Oh, what? Did you ask me a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I stopped paying attention. I fell asleep a little bit there.
When I talked about the bouncing ball hoop game?
They're the worst first-place team ever. How would I know, Justin? How would I know? I've never seen a first-place team before.
They're so bad.
I've never seen a first-place baseball team.
They're so bad.
How would I know what they're the best? They're also the best first-place team I've ever seen.
Wow.
I guess they were probably first place back in '95, weren't they? And,
well, they were. I don't.
2001. So yeah, they're the worst first place team I've ever seen.
Were they first place in '95? I thought they went on a huge
Maybe
run
not.
to sneak into a wild card.
Yeah, you're probably right. So just 2001. They had to have been first place then, right?
They were. Yeah. Well, they won the most games in the history of the majors in the regular season.
Tied for.
Yeah.
Because they could do that.
So they definitely were first place. And this year's team is definitely worse than that team.
Yep.
So
that's facts.
yeah, they probably are the worst first place team you've ever seen. They're just barely over 5. They suck, man. They can't hit. And also, I don't stay as in tune with the roster stuff as you do.
It's worse than that, though.
Okay.
Because their offense sucks, and their pitching might be the best that, they have an argument that at the end of the season they could be the best in the league.
Yeah.
And yet you still can only win half of your games.
For a pretty good chunk of the beginning of the season, they were like the best rotation in Major League history.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah. And they're deep. They've got Emerson Hancock that they sent down to bring up Woo.
Woo.
Yeah, I'm just glad Woo's back so we can get rid of that Hancock guy. Much better for my fantasy team. So you mentioned Ty France in the Vlad Jr. Discussion, and I know that's because France plays first base.
Yeah.
Is there more to that? I was not picturing Vlad taking over his
really?
spot.
I just saw it. I was like, he's a first baseman, so he's going to come in to play first or DH.
Yeah. Well, and can we get rid of the DH that's batting 180?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Mitch
like
Garver's
Garver.
not been amazing.
Get rid of Garver. I don't know. Ty France played other positions before. Didn't he play second and third base as well?
Yeah, I think that he could probably play third. I don't know if he's at. I don't know. I love Ty France. I don't know whether he's actually ready to play second base.
Yeah.
Here's the real problem.
Ooh, tell me the real problem.
This isn't about being like the Blue Jays or any specific thing. No matter who, if they trade for a batter, I'm still gonna be like, not that excited because until I see results, because how many freaking people have we seen come to Seattle and then completely fall off the table?
Yeah. A lot. Most of them, actually.
Almost all of them. Not all of them, but almost all of them. So if they could if I had an in with the Mariners front office, I would be encouraging them to try to find the one common thing that the batters that don't stink when they come to Seattle have. If you could find that, maybe you could create a team.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think it's like the idea of adding bats. You know, we always want them to do that.
Well,
but
we
it's
want
also,
them to have bats.
Yeah, but then if they sign for Vlad, I'm assuming it's because he has a contract situation coming up. So if they
would it be a rental?
I mean, are they going to pay him? He's a 3-time All-Star. He's a good player. I know that the last 2 of his seasons haven't been as good as the season before that when he was tied for the major league lead in home runs, and he's been down in production this year, even though he's batting like almost 400 over the last month, I think. But he's a good player. He's going to be expensive. Like when they get to that point where they have to choose whether they're going to pay the guy or not, they're probably not going to do it. And I'm assuming that the Blue Jays don't want to pay him, and that's why they want to get rid of him. So what would the Mariners have to give up to get him?
Vladimir is going to be a free agent after 25.
Okay.
So you would have him for the rest of this year and 1 year.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette is also going to be a free agent after 25.
So yeah, I heard that they were probably going to try to move one of those guys.
I would not like to see Bo Bichette come over here because my impression of him, which is I'm not a huge. He swings a lot. I think he gets a lot of strikeouts, and I would rather see somebody who doesn't get a lot of strikeouts because we get a lot of strikeouts already.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just having a hard time with the idea of like not adding more bats if more bats are available, but I also don't want them like the Mariners they're kind of in a spot now where they did the rebuild and had a chance to pay guys to keep them around, and instead of paying guys to keep them around and then signing big free agents, they decided to trade some guys away and like just put together like it's a decent roster, but they decided to throw together a patchwork roster that's cheap.
Yeah, they moved a bunch of stuff around, but they definitely tried to not get worse rather than adding like they tried to make small improvements on the margins.
So if you're going to be a team that decides we're not when the rebuild is done and it's time to go sign big free agents, we're going to prove to you that we're not going to do that we're going to make the cost saving moves. That makes me nervous for them to trade away any prospects ever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like if they're going to be trading I don't even know the names of the guys because everybody that I knew who was a prospect is on the major league roster now. So I don't know the names of the guys, but the name that I saw floated for the potential Vlad Jr. trade was the 3rd or 4th best player in their minor league program.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to do that if you're going to be cheap.
And also, yes, if you're not going to re-sign them, long term, then I wouldn't want to see them giving away the potential in the future roster. But also, I kind of don't expect them to because they keep on talking about how they don't want to go all in for it. Like that's ultimately, all joking about 54% aside, that was what Jerry was saying when he was saying that. He was like, look, we think that the best thing to do is to be pretty good always. And then we'll get a chance, like eventually we'll win.
And hopefully you catch lightning in a bottle one season and things work out
like
better than you think.
That's what he was saying. He was saying we don't want to sell out and be and commit to being bad in the future by doing as good as we possibly can like in a certain year.
Yeah, and
so I don't
I do get
expect them
that.
to do that.
But you're not mortgaging the future by signing free agents,
somebody
though.
in. You're mortgaging the future if you're trading away.
Agreed.
So that's what I meant by that. Like I don't expect them to trade away their future best guys, but I also don't really expect them to bring in anybody I actually am going to be super excited for.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna I'm sure they'll bring someone in, but it's gonna be somebody who's been good before, or somebody who has been really good for like a week, and they're gonna have they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we think this guy's gonna be good.
Abraham Toro.
Yes, someone like that who's doing really great.
Diego Castillo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Honestly,
it's
though,
not a fun way to
Toro's-
fan, though.
Have you seen Toro's, what, you mean reality-wise?
Yeah.
Trying to actually be ready for what's going to happen?
It's not a fun way to fan because I feel like I was sold something. Like I was told by Jerry DiPoto at the beginning of this, you know what? Don't pay attention to us. We're going to suck for a few years, but we're going to come out on the other side of it and we're going to be great. And I was sold this big rebuild where we're going to do the thing that the Astros did. We're going to tear it all down to the ground. And then when it's time, we're going to go all in. Like, that's what was sold to me. And so I've been waiting for it all this time. And then when they were on the precipice, we're like, they have the young players and they're getting better and they make the playoffs. That's a time where you make the big push. You sign the big free agent. You don't trade your whole farm system away to go get somebody, but you find the free agents that can help you and you sign them.
Yeah,
and instead of doing that, they let good players go.
Don't give up the future.
Yeah, they let good players go, and they got the Kmart version of those guys that I wanted them to sign. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's frustrating, because it's like it's years of this buildup, and now it's not being delivered, or even attempting to be delivered what was promised to us.
And nothing about what I'm saying should be interpreted as trying to convince you that you shouldn't be frustrated.
Yeah,
because I'm frustrated too.
Well, I'm an Orioles fan now. Jerry DiPoto's a liar. So the Orioles are a really good second place team, and the Mariners are the worst first place team we've ever seen.
Daniel's.
I don't know if I want to read that one. Shout out Elias, by the way.
Yeah, my nephew Elias
Yeah.
is 7 years old today.
Woo!
Happy birthday, Elias.
Man, Elias, you made it. 7 years, buddy. Good job. Wonder what Elias got for his birthday. Daniel, what presents did Elias get for his birthday? Like, what are his favorite ones? Let us know. We do have to move on, actually. We have 2 segments left.
Chase accused you of Celtic slander.
Yeah.
Or
no,
was he accusing me of it?
No.
Saying their name
No.
correctly?
I slandered them.
Okay.
I did. And I believe what I said. Because the Celtics are, how many times have we seen an Eastern Conference team that's really good just coast through the Andrew, you've been following the NBA for a long time. How many times have you seen an Eastern Conference team in a terrible conference coast all the way through to the finals and then get pooped on?
Yeah, I actually have never seen that.
Yeah. I mean, it happens all the time. Like, the Celtics are going to get there and they're like, hey, let's keep playing these in the playoffs. Let's play these average to below average teams with their best players out and we'll look really good against them, and we'll only lose a few games and then get to the finals and play against actually good teams who have been playing against actually good teams. The Celtics are not winning the finals.
Elias got a Star Wars Lego set. That's awesome.
Bro, that is awesome.
That's really cool.
Legos are cool, man.
Star Wars Lego sets are cool too.
When I had time to do stuff, I liked playing Legos with my kids.
Legos are fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to move on.
Way more fun than NBA basketball. No, it's really not.
True. My wife is intentionally texting me and trying to distract me with office quotes. The Celtics were a great team. Yeah, they were. Robert Parrish. Anyway, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show. Andrew, hit me with it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do
Wait,
it now,
We're
faster.
doing this? What?
My favorite part of the show.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Stump Andrew is brought to you
What?
by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, no relation. And Andrew, I have a question for you.
I probably have an answer.
It's one question, and you're going to be on a timer.
Oh, good.
You have to tell me. Timer. Hold on. I'm going to give you 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 30 seconds. The 0 hours and 0 minutes part of that was essential to say.
Yeah.
You're going to have 30 seconds to name as many major league teams as possible which have an A in their logo.
In their logo?
On your marks.
Major League Baseball or
Major League Baseball.
Only baseball?
Major League Baseball.
Okay.
As many teams as possible in 30 seconds. Dang it, the timer was wrong. Okay, 30 seconds starting now.
In their logo.
In their logo. How many teams?
I really only know the A's.
The A's is one, that's correct.
How about the Athletics?
The Athletics, too, that's correct.
How are the A's and the Athletics not the same team?
You have 10 seconds left. You are not doing well.
No, I'm not. I don't know any of the logos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Astros?
Give yourself a buzzer.
No.
The Astros logo is an H with a star.
How would I know that?
You wouldn't know what the Astros
I hate
logo
the
is?
Astros.
Yeah, but you watch your team play them like 20 times a
I
year.
listen to the radio.
I've seen you watch the games.
I thought that the Astros.
Okay, that's a
I
good
thought
one.
the Astros the logo was the trash can with the A on it. Is that not the?
No, it's
Son of a gun.
Well, it should be that. In your defense, it should be that.
I'm
But
pretty
it's
sure
a
I've
it's a
seen-
star
I'm pretty
with
sure
an
I've seen
H.
that logo.
Well, you got the
What
Angels
is
and
the
the
H
A's.
for?
Houston.
Oh, they're in Houston.
What is the H for? Come on, man.
I feel like it should be an A. Francis also guessed Astros with me.
Well, you guys are both wrong,
Yeah, we're both wrong and dumb.
and you missed the Braves.
Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah. Can you picture
All
the Braves
joking
logo
aside,
now?
yes, I got the cursive A or the not the
Yeah.
it's like a
Yep.
yeah.
And the Diamondbacks of Arizona.
My snakes.
And then as like a trick question, because there's more than one letter, but one of them's an A, the Dodgers.
I don't know what the Dodgers logo is. Isn't it SD?
The Dodgers?
What's San Diego? No, there's SF. San Francisco. Is it San Francisco Dodgers?
No! Are you serious? Are you messing with me?
Los Angeles.
Los
Dodgers.
Angeles.
It's an LA. Okay, I see.
Are you really such a regional baseball fan?
Yeah, no, I don't care about. I love John Boy.
Yeah.
I cannot listen to their main product, which is the Baseball Today podcast, because I care so little about other baseball teams. And plus, it just makes me feel
but
depressed.
you know the other teams,
If we
though.
were better than the other teams, I would probably enjoy it a lot more.
I
just hear about how, like, oh, this person that was terrible for the Mariners is doing great now. Oh, this other person that was terrible for the Mariners is doing great now. Oh, this other team made up of, like, half Mariners from before that were terrible is doing great now.
A better stump Andrew would have been, Andrew, here's all the baseball teams in California. Tell me what city they play in. Because based on this, I think you would have gotten them all wrong.
Hold on, Andrew said Athletic and A's. You said Angels and Athletics.
Yeah.
Andrew said the same team twice.
Oh.
You're right. I did say A's and Athletics.
Okay. And I missed it. You know, Hannah, you don't have to come in here and say that I'm wrong about something. Well, I was making fun of Andrew for not knowing the different baseball teams in California.
In Francis's defense, he doesn't pay attention to baseball until October, so.
Yeah, well, then he's been really disappointed by the Yankees for about the last 2 decades. If he waits till October to pay attention, then
Well, no,
they're
I
either
think-
not playing or they're
I
not playing
think
for
he
long.
actually thinks that the MLB got canceled.
Like
they aren't playing anymore.
Not like socially, like they did something wrong.
No, like they just canceled the league. Like,
Oh, yeah.
They just gave up.
He probably literally thinks that it ended in like the year 1999, the last time the Yankees ever did anything significant.
Yeah.
Probably.
They probably just shuttered the league at the end of the century.
I'm not surprised that you didn't get the Diamondbacks or the Braves as an A in the logo because it's a little tricky. It's the city name instead of the.
I will say, the A's I feel more bad about. I don't feel bad about missing the Diamondbacks. I can't visualize their logo right now anyway, which maybe I should feel bad about that, but I don't. But the Braves, when you said the Braves, I was like,
Yeah.
Atlanta Braves. Oh yeah, I can see that logo in my head.
So Atlanta Braves, you have no problem remembering what city they're from. But I give you the Dodgers, and you think they're from San Diego or San Francisco.
They're from Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I was trying to remember what California town they'd moved to.
Do you realize how ridiculous you sound? When someone says the Dodgers and you're like, well, I don't know where they play now for the last 40, 50 years or whatever, but I know they used to play in Brooklyn, way back before my father was even born.
I mean, the last time they were relevant to me.
It's just
I said to me.
If Daniel were here, he would be appalled. This is shocking. I thought you were a baseball fan.
No, I'm a Mariners fan.
Oh, man. But your team plays these teams.
I'm far more of a fan. Baseball's, super low on my sports that I'm a fan of.
Okay.
Honestly. It's above soccer.
Yeah, okay.
My wife is more of a
Hannah,
baseball
how many of the teams with an A in the logo would you have gotten? Yes, you would have gotten at least 3. You wouldn't have said A's and athletics. And somehow I knew what you meant, though, when you said that. Because I don't know. Anyway, that's going to conclude Stump Daniel. This is the most upsetting edition of Stump Daniel I think I can ever recall.
This is upsetting for you?
Yes.
Oh, so would you say that I won by stumping Justin?
I guess so. Oh, boy. You know what else I want to say about the Boston Celtics?
Celtics?
Yeah, Jason Tatum's overrated. So take that, Chase. Justin's thoughts on the ACC baseball tournament. I've been
All Coasts Conference.
That's fair. But they're not that yet, though. That starts next year.
year.
Right now, they're
Okay.
still the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have any thoughts on it because I spent every spare hour this week tracking high school softball and track, and that's not a
And
joke.
writing them down and then leaving them at his house.
It's not a joke. I really did that. But I do know that the Tar Heels clinched the ACC regular season title with a 2-1 series win over Duke last week. That's what I know. Also, Duke sucks. And so do the Celtics. And whatever other teams Chase roots for. Let's close out the show with a little mailbag question. Because I think it would be fun just to have a little conversation.
Mailbag.
Yes,
Send
the
us your
mailbag.
stuff. Send us your stuff in a mailbag.
Andrew, this question comes from Christy. If you had to lose...
Oh, yeah, this is easy for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I went back and forth. Did Francis just say Tatum is going to be the finals MVP? Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
Come on, man. Tatum disappears for large chunks of the game and then gets bailed out by either other coaches from the other teams forgetting how to coach or somebody getting injured or Jaylen Brown hitting a wild
Stop talking
three.
NBA.
Andrew,
Yeah.
if you had to lose your hands or your feet, which would you choose?
For me, this is an easy decision. I
Okay.
am not trivializing, it would be horrible to lose either.
Are you afraid we're going to get canceled?
No, I just want to make
okay.
clear that when I say, oh, it's easy, I'm saying my hands are so important to me. I would far rather lose my feet. If I had to choose, it is not a choice for me. Feet 100 times out of 100.
The line, my hands are so important to me, really got me.
Do you know how hard it is to type with stumps?
Okay, so
I don't, but I'm assuming it's really hard based just on my imagination.
that's where you went with it, is you were like, how would I use my computer if I didn't have hands?
How would I do
Or-
anything?
Okay.
I can do things with my hands without using my feet. Even if I have my feet, if I don't have my hands,
Yeah.
life gets so much more difficult.
Which things specifically? Because I think also, my feet are really important to me. I'm just kidding.
How can you dress yourself without hands? You have to change your wardrobe. You can't have anything with buttons.
I think I don't really have anything with buttons.
Pants.
I don't.
Can't have pants with zippers or buttons.
I almost never wear pants with zippers or buttons.
Sweatpants. Sir, I know for a fact that on a daily basis you wear a uniform with the zipper.
Well, if I didn't have hands or feet, I would no longer be able to do that job. So either way,
I
that's
think
off
that
the
I
table.
could do that job without feet.
No. How?
There are guys that there are multiple veterans who have lost their feet who I follow on social media occasionally, or I see posts of them on social media occasionally that are capable of doing very athletic things with prosthetics.
Like with one prosthetic foot?
No, multiple.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can walk and run. They have so this changes the game for me.
It changes your gait.
It changes it changes this question for me completely, because in my mind, with prosthetic feet, my mobility would be severely limited. Like if you have one prosthetic foot, then it feels really easy, like you can kind of limp on it.
I'm not trying to trivialize it.
You can stop saying that. Everyone knows.
I just want to make sure, I'm not trying to trivialize it. It is you can do far more with two prosthetic legs than you can do with prosthetic hands. Yet. Maybe someday we'll be able to control fingers with our brains, but not now.
All right. Well, presented with that information, I think you're right. I think it's an easy question. You keep your hands, you lose the feet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The only thing is, like, if you're not a work with your hands kind of a person, but mobility is really important to you.
Well, maybe Jane Roloff would choose feet.
Maybe Jane would choose feet. I don't know. Again, not trying to trivialize it. But yeah, I know. I think I'm with you. We'll go ahead and lose our feet instead of our hands. So, and then my wife is throwing another office quote at me. No hands and no feet is basically how you live now. Which is something someone said to Kevin on The Office. So
that's rude.
Yeah. Well, we made it through a show without Daniel. We named a Spivey Athlete of the Week. We played Stump Andrew, and Andrew shocked me and then somehow won, even though he failed miserably, but then he shocked me so badly in his miserable failure that he sort of ended up winning. Daniel Hargrove is no longer with us today because he's maybe in jail. We're not sure. #FreeDaniel. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off, Andrew, unless there's anything else you wanted to say.
I just wanted to say happy Memorial Day to everyone, and enjoy your day off, and remember the people that have given their lives to allow us to enjoy the day off.
I should have led off with that. That was a bad job by me.
Now you're good.
Now you're making me look bad. Okay. Anyway, that's going to do it for our show today. So for my absentee co-host, Daniel Hargrove, who is no longer with us today because he might maybe be in jail, #FreeDaniel, and my trusty producer, Andrew, I don't know what the different baseball teams in California play or where, and it was so bad that it broke Justin's brain. Gross. I am Justin Domashevitz, and you've been listening to The Scrimmage, or watching, or whatever you did.